Well, close, but no winner. That is the word from Mo Ibrahim, the Sudanese magnate known for his African Governance Index. Ibrahim says the quality of African leadership is improving, yet at his annual event in London, his foundation announced that no one qualified for the Ibrahim Prize for Achievement in African Leadership for 2013. Salim Ahmed Salim, former Prime Minister of Tanzania and chair of the prize committee, said the three previous winners set a high standard, which was a positive development for the continent.
We have established certain benchmarks which are important to fulfill. But by and large, I think we are satisfied. We as a prize committee were satisfied that taking into account that the committee has now, it's been about 7 years, we've got 3 who have won the prize, and the others have not won the prize. And we hope that those who are aspiring or who are in actual service and are interested in getting a prize will live up to the performance of our 3 laureates.
Now, for more perspective on the Mo Ibrahim Index and the Mo Ibrahim Prize, I'm joined by Eric Chinje, a visiting scholar at George Mason University and former Director of Strategic Communications at Mo Ibrahim Foundation in London. Welcome back, Eric.
Thank you, Vincent.
Glad
to be back.
Glad to be back, and I'm happy to see you. Now, 3 years in a row, nobody has been seen worthy of this prize. Does Mo Ibrahim really want to part with his $5 million a year?
Oh, it has nothing to do with the money.
Yeah.
It has everything to do with the quality of leadership. And I think what we're seeing is a continent that's transitioning away from the old style leadership, if you like, and moving into a new political dispensation.
Yeah.
And the fact that we're not finding these leaders is not a question of a matter of the money, but more a factor of this change. We're not at that point yet where these democratically governed states are beginning to, turn out these leaders in good numbers.
But if you look at, for example, the criteria, democratically elected former African head of state who has left office at least in the last 3 years, somebody who has helped to bring down poverty in his country. If you look across the continent, surely there's nobody, not even one person who has deserved this for the last 3 years.
Well, who has left office is a very important element in the consideration of who wins. So you look at the pool; it's a very small pool. Mm-hmm. And if within that pool, these leaders have not engendered significant transformations of their societies, then it makes the pool even smaller. Mm-hmm. And that's the challenge.
Yeah, but some have wondered, does this prize really motivate any of those African leaders to do better? Because some of them anyway don't need this $5 million to do anything. They can earn this.
Yeah, I think it's important that we see this prize, within a long-term perspective. There are leaders now who play by the rules, who govern as best they can. They're not there to enrich themselves. And what this prize would do is provide encouragement to these kinds of leaders. Yeah. That's what we should be looking at.
They have a good motivation anyway. For some of those, they don't even need
the motivation
this kind of incentive.
Would be, those who do not see this as an incentive are those who can grab from the state treasury as quickly and as often as they want.
And actually
so we're hoping that we would increasingly see a quality of African leadership that does not steep their hands into the treasury.
Now, some have said, why doesn't Mo Ibrahim use this money instead to engage in some very practical projects on the ground to help the common people instead of worrying about leaders who may not really care about this money?
Mo has always said he doesn't have a monopoly on philanthropy, and he hopes, and he keeps saying this, that others would fill those gaps where there's need. I think he's identified one area based on his own experiences, and this is someone who believed in Africa, went to Africa and did business, and realized that the most important obstacle he had was at the level of the leadership.
Governance, leadership.
Yes. Yeah. So, he decided, well, now that I have some spare change, I will try as best I can to ensure that at that level of leadership, there are significant improvements. And that's what the Mo Ibrahim Foundation is all about. That's what they're doing with the index. You know, it's an important aspect of this. You know, you have to look at what the index is trying to achieve, which gives, you know, I came from the World Bank when I went to the Mo Ibrahim Foundation. And I did because I saw this index as the recipe for good governance.
And it says,
designed
anyway,
in a way that no other document has.
Yeah, generally they say that there's improvement anyway over the years. Well, Eric, thank you very much for joining us here today. Eric Chinje is a visiting scholar at George Mason University and a former director of strategic communications at the Mo Ibrahim Foundation. Now, we want to know what you think about Africa 54. Join the conversation on Facebook. The address is Africa 54. And check out our headlines 24/7 on voaafrica.com.